conditions over the Skyway Bridge, we saw one of the last images we do feel from the Skyway Bridge earlier.
Yeah, I
Some
want
of
to
the
see if that's still
This
there,
worst
by
shit
the way.
getting
is
real
ongoing over
fast,
at the
man.
Skyway
Pray for
Bridge
them
in
people,
southern
man.
portions of Pinellas County. So again, right there as you come off the bridge, side of St. Pete, Terre Verde, out towards St. Pete Beach, storm from here moving forward. Here's a camera shot. This is
I-275, 22-mile marker, 5th Avenue North, and we're going to see this
bouncing around quite a bit.
We do not have the Sunshine Skyway Bridge shot anymore. That was a bit of foreshadowing, I suppose, earlier, ominous foreshadowing when I said, I don't know how long this shot is going to last. And for the first time, the Sunshine Skyway Bridge camera is out. So we
God. Damn,
there we go. Oh, there's the Matt Lachey Bridge. Is it possible just to go ahead and take that vantage point full? Is about every down. So getting the latest warnings, please yell. Obviously, the rain is picking up as that particular thunderstorm.
Man. All these people driving right there. Oh. Oh.
Moving right over the Matt Lachey
coming
Bridge.
over that bitch. Bro, you gonna keep driving? This nigga crazy.
This is why we told you guys you had to evacuate early this morning.
That's on the bridge.
Very
distinct. You
right
had to
now.
keep driving. Damn. Shit look chaotic. Camera about to go down. Yeah, that's gonna camera gonna fall.
It's moving right over the Matt
Shit.
Lachey Bridge.
You ready to lose that camera. God damn, this nigga spin. No. This gotta be it. Damn.
Can we?
Oh, that shit right there is scary, bro. That's why I'm scared to move to Florida, man. As much as I want to move down there, scared of that, bro. We get more hurricanes up here in Baltimore, but you gotta keep ice bags, but not like that, man. Not that y'all, man. I pray for y'all, man. And you gotta think about the older people who ain't going nowhere, who done seen 100 hurricanes, and that shit don't bother them. And I pray for all y'all, man. Well, I got some stubborn ass old relatives that you ain't telling them to evacuate their house. They don't think that God gonna stick this motherfucking house. See, that's the type of shit my old relatives say. Damn, yo, that shit look bad, yo. That shit look bad, yo. Then you got Kamala out here lying, using shit
I've been
political
working
gain.
nonstop now for weeks.
Listen what my man say when they ask him about.
And then now
ask this man about Kamala Harris, talking on the View, talking about she been trying to call him and he ain't been answering and he ain't call her back. Whole time he said, man, I already hollered at Biden. I already got what I need down here. I don't know what she talking about. And she ain't never called me. She ain't never called me the whole time she been vice president. I don't know why she trying to call me now. If she is trying to call me, because I ain't got no call from her. But I'm good. I don't know why she even mentioning my name. Like, that's how he carried it. I got hella more shit going on. I just recovered from a hurricane. I got another hurricane coming. He definitely broke it down for her real quick. I ain't gonna play much of this.
to prepare and respond to this new major hurricane. The common
capacity. We're about 31.
Yeah.
And these
He already said what he said. Grandstand on the nigga on The View. Try to stun on him, talking about he ain't answering the phone. That man got big ass hurricanes to deal with. What you doing? What I'm answering the phone for you for? You ain't never called me. They had about 20,000 hurricanes throughout this whole time, and now you want to call because you running for president. Girl, bye. That's the type of shit my man was on. If she called, which I don't think she did, I think she just was trying to look good. Talking about, yeah, because he ain't answering the phone. We trying to. Biden already done took care of that. Biden made another press conference while she was talking about, yeah, I already talked to him. We gave him everything they need. Bop, bop, bop. Got her looking like Biden don't know what's going on. It's crazy. But yeah, man, definitely pray for Hurricane Milton, man. It's getting crazy out there, man. It's getting crazy. Here go Melanie King, man. Shout out to Melanie, man, because she lived down there. She had to evacuate, man, to get out of there.
Incredible hurricane.
Shout out to Melanie.
It has dropped.
This one of the YouTubers I be watching for real. She real insightful. Check out Melanie King, and she got a couple pages. I think it's like Melanie Off Script, and she got a couple of them doing. But check out, man, she official, and she very informative, and she do her homework. Pray for her though, y'all. She had to evacuate.
It has dropped 50 millibars.
She in a hotel with it
in 10 hours. I apologize. This is just horrific.
Lane was a wake-up call. This is literally catastrophic. And I can say without any dramatization whatsoever, if you choose to stay in one of those evacuation areas, you're going to die.
Damn.
It's not about whether you'll have the opportunity to get to higher ground.
You heard what the mayor said? The mayor straight up said, if you choose to stay, you will die. That's crazy. So Melanie got the fuck out of there. I watched it when she left. She was like, I'm ready to dip. I'm doing this last video, bop, bop, boom, and I'm going to get me to where I'm going, and I'm going to update y'all, let y'all know. So this her update for real. But you see what the mayor said, Tampa mayor, if you choose to stay in an evacuation area, you're going to die. And I just saw that shit. If you look at the beginning of this video, how that shit look coming over top of that bridge.
Those evacuation areas, you're going to die.
It's not about whether you'll have the opportunity to get to higher ground or someone might be able to come rescue you. During that storm, law enforcement officers cannot get to you. And in many of these areas that take direct hits and that storm surge comes up, those homes are gone. So loss of life is predictable where it will happen. We just need people to work with us and leave. I've heard people say it before. If you choose to stay where there is a direct hit, make sure you write your name on your arm so that we know who you are. You've got to heed the stay in your home in an evacuation zone and you've got a direct hit coming. It's not about whether you can wade through water to get out. It's not about whether you'll have the opportunity to get to higher ground or someone might be able to come rescue you. During that storm, law enforcement officers cannot get to you. And in many of these areas that take direct hits and that storm surge comes up, those homes are gone. They are washed away. So loss of life is predictable where it will happen. We just need people to work with us and leave. I've heard people say it before. If you choose to stay where there is a direct hit, make sure you write your name on your arm so that we know who you are. You've got to heed these evacuation warnings.
It looks like
that she said if you stay in that spot where that red at, any of them spots where it was red at, then you might as well write your name on your arm. Any of these spots right here, they the main evacuation areas where it's blue, green. I mean, if you anywhere close, you need to get the fuck out of there. I think Melanie must live in one of them for real, because she got the fuck out of there.
Tit, make sure you write your name on your arm
Write
so that
the
we
name on your arm.
Imagine this.
You
Imagine
know who
3 feet
you
of
are.
storm surge right here.
They guarantee that they said some people gonna die. That's basically what she just said. Like, loss of life is expected. That's what this lady just said. What the fuck, bro? How is loss of life expected? It's no way in hell, bro. Only people that should be dying is the people that's too stubborn to leave. That's saying, fuck all the resources, fuck whatever y'all got for us, whatever, we ain't leaving. If they ain't gonna stay, then that's the people that should be expected. Anything else, I don't know. But damn, bro, I hope them people leave, man. I hope them people got the fuck away from there, because
Now, if this amount of water catches you by surprise, it's too late to evacuate. Cars are floating around and floating away. There's large objects in here that could knock things down with a battering ram-like force. Now, there's no way, again, to evacuate with this kind of storm surge. But we know there's going to be places with more than 3 feet. Imagine 6 feet of storm surge. Now, this completely floods out the first floors of homes and businesses, and the only way to escape that is to move to the higher floor of a building. Now, unfortunately, there are going to be places that get more than 6 feet of storm surge flooding. Imagine this, 9 feet, even beyond of flooding, of inundation. This is practically not survivable.
It's not survivable in some shit like this. What the fuck, yo? Yo, that's crazy, bro. The 6 feet made him look crazy because he probably short. But damn, 9 feet, that shit damn near to the roof. Damn.
To evacuate. And if you have any questions about what evacuation zone you're in, if you need to go and or where you need to go,
that shit, how you made
Florida disaster.org.
Crazy.
And by all means, everybody, please stay safe.
Yo.
So many of you know, I live in the Tampa Bay area. I just moved to the area, and I thought it was safe from hurricanes because, as you've heard, that this is the first time in 100 years that the Tampa Bay area will have a direct hit of a hurricane. And actually, that's since 1921. But what's even crazier is that there hasn't been anything this strong since the 1800s on recorded history. This is supposed to be the worst natural disaster in Florida history, or close to the worst. It definitely is the worst this year, and one of the worst in the country ever on record. So this is pretty crazy that I am directly on the coast of Florida where this eye will be hitting. And so it's not just the hurricane with the winds. You saw that piece with the storm surge, which is supposed to be twice what Helene was. 9 feet would be great, but where I am at, it's supposed to be 12 to over 15 feet of storm surge, meaning water pouring in. And outside that, you have the wind damage, you'll have debris that will be flying around that is extremely dangerous. A lot of people will a lot of people are going to die in this storm. And outside of that, guys, you're going to have historic rainfall and tornadoes that are actually happening.
A lot of people going to die
at the same time. I'm going to show you. As you guys know, I evacuated.
They can't even get us from this information.
I guess early hours of Monday morning. I left out at 1:30 in the morning, drove 2.5 hours from Tampa Bay area to Orlando to catch a flight at 6:30, had a long layover, and I'm now in Washington, D.C., where my family's from. And I actually set up a hotel room here so that I can use it as a studio. And also, if you don't know, yesterday was my birthday. So I was able to go to dinner and celebrate that. But the reality is, I don't know if I will have a home to go back to.
That's crazy. You said that.
So I'm kind of in a little bit of a shock. I don't know what's going to happen. Even if, let's say, miraculously, my house didn't have any damage and nothing happened to it. Well, we're talking about power outages for weeks. We're talking about infrastructure destroyed and bridges. And I mean, just
A mess.
I don't know when life will be normal again in Florida, and particularly in this area. I don't know what's going to happen next. And again, I don't know if I'm going to have a home to come back to.
Man, Melanie.
But I just have to pray that I do.
Be happy that
And
you're
but
safe,
if I
man.
don't know what's next. So guys, keep me in your prayers, keep me in your thoughts. I want to play this for you. This is one
Absolutely
of
in
the
the prayers,
YouTubers that
Melanie.
really got. I don't just watch mainstream news. You guys know I don't. I had no idea there is an entire industry of meteorologists on YouTube. These guys get
Me
millions of
too.
views
I'm just
too,
finding them,
which it
looking
makes
for
sense. But
this.
they basically they break down these storms and the things going on
Yep.
way better than what I have seen on the news, giving details that I have no idea about.
Yep.
They give, talk about history and comparisons and really have robust coverage. So I encourage you to look these guys up. Mr. Weatherman, this is Max Velocity, Ryan Hall, and there's a couple of other people that are just really good, and they are the reason why I decided to leave before I even really saw anyone else evacuating, because I just think a lot of people are used to natural disasters in Florida and that they're not going to evacuate. Now, there's also a
Right.
lot of people who
You from
cannot
up here. You don't play that
for
shit. You
health
like me.
reasons.
I'm out of here.
They
You gonna
have
have a
family
what?
there. They
I'm
can't
taking
take
the little one
everybody. They don't
serious.
have the means to do it. I mean, that's the main reason we are living in one of the worst economies. People don't have disposable income for something like this. They can barely afford groceries. They can
Right.
barely afford gas.
Facts.
That's another thing. The highways have been backed up where they turned both the the highway going towards Tampa. They actually turned all of that highway to northbound so that it moving away from it so that you're not driving into Tampa. Gas stations are out of gas. The roads are backed up.
Damn, Melanie.
Like there's just a lot, guys. This is kind of scatterbrain because again, I'm just like trying to get my bearing, trying to figure out what I'm going to do, what's going to happen. But I want to play you guys this video, and then I'll come back. I'll come back.
Hurricane Milton is expected to make landfall as a powerful and intense hurricane in Florida today. And the National Hurricane Center even warns that this could be the most destructive hurricane that West Central Florida has ever seen. So in today's video, we're going to break down exactly what you need to know about what Hurricane Milton has done overnight and exactly what this will be doing as it approaches the state of Florida. So right now, Hurricane Milton continues to remain a very strong major hurricane in the southeastern Gulf of Mexico. It is continuing to move to the northeast very quickly at about 10 to 12 miles per hour, and it will continue to move northeast before eventually turning somewhere into areas like Tampa Bay or Cape Coral upon landfall later this evening. And by the way, we are going to be live covering this on this channel today, so make sure you're subscribed down below and click the bell icon so you're notified when we do go live. But we do expect major impacts for Western Florida, including storm surge, hurricane force winds, and the potential for prolific rainfall that'll lead to significant flooding. Hurricane Milton has already shattered records. This is the second strongest hurricane of all time to be in the Gulf of Mexico. As of a little over 36 hours ago is when it hit 897 millibars of pressure. It is obviously not as strong now, but it has been obviously a very intense hurricane. And with how intense it has been, that is just going to increase the storm surge for the west coast of Florida this evening. So as we go throughout the morning hours, we are going to continue to see this as an intense hurricane as it approaches the west coast of Florida. One thing I do want to point out is that the wind field has already grown substantially. The tropical storm force winds are going to be felt across almost 500 miles from northwest to southeast. For reference, this was only 220 miles wide yesterday. So the wind field has basically doubled in size as it approaches Florida. In addition to that, hurricane force winds are also growing in size. So it just keeps getting worse, essentially, for the state of Florida. As we go later into this afternoon, it will be approaching the west coast of Florida. The worst of the winds will still be offshore, but we are going to start to see hurricane force winds across areas near Tampa and Sarasota and Bradenton as we get closer to about 6 to 7 o'clock tonight. And then as this makes landfall sometime around midnight or so tonight, this will be causing major impacts and catastrophic impacts across western Florida. And we will be feeling impacts starting as early as 2 to 3 o'clock this afternoon, including the potential for several tornadoes. And we'll be talking more about that tornado threat in just a moment. This will be be a very intense hurricane, more than likely making landfall as either a very high-end Category 3 or a low-end Category 4 hurricane. And this will move right across central Florida overnight Thursday and will eventually be back into the Atlantic Ocean as we go into Thursday afternoon. That'll allow for a northeasterly and easterly wind to pick up on the east coast of Florida, and that'll promote the potential for some storm surge back over between Jacksonville and then even as far south as the West Palm Beach County line. Let's talk more about the impacts that'll be felt out of Hurricane Milton, and we'll begin with the future radar for today. We are going to notice a ton of rainfall falling across central Florida as we go into this afternoon. This is really going to ramp up as with the eye of the hurricane gets closer to landfall this evening. The heaviest of the rainfall is expected to be between about Daytona Beach and Jacksonville, back through Tampa, and just off to the west of Sarasota. And the most of the rain is going to be on the northern side of the eye. Landfall will likely be near Sarasota or just north of Sarasota, near Tampa Bay. So the bulk of the rain that's heaviest will be falling right along and north of I-4. And as we go into the overnight hours, Wednesday night into Thursday morning, this rain will continue to penetrate across areas like Orlando and Daytona Beach. And eventually, as we go into Thursday afternoon, the eye moves offshore. Rain will start to move offshore with that, and we are done with this hurricane as we go into Friday, at least in terms of the impacts that'll be felt. Now, in terms of rainfall accumulation, we are going to see a lot of rain, especially in this area from Tampa back through Daytona Beach, with most areas seeing between 8 to 12 inches of rainfall. There will also be some isolated locations that get as much as 16 inches of rainfall. Areas south of I-4 are going to be a bit more fortunate. We're not expecting as much rain down here, but anywhere from a half an inch to a few inches of rain will be possible, and that could still lead to some flooding. Another thing I want to point out, by the way, is that there is a high risk for excessive rainfall across much of central Florida today. Please turn around, don't drown. There's going to be a lot of water on the roadways, and flooding does appear likely for several different areas. Now, in terms of the wind speeds, we are going to watch for very high winds as this makes landfall, and even before landfall back over in Tampa and Sarasota. We are eventually going to see those hurricane force winds exceed as high as 110 to 120 miles per hour in those areas. Winds really pick up in the yellow and brown areas as we go into the overnight hours. So most of central Florida will also feel these hurricane force wind speeds. I think these wind gusts even Thursday will actually be higher than this model is indicating. And this map that I'll show you in a moment will also show you that in correlation to what I just mentioned. Now, here's what we're expecting in terms of the peak wind speeds. This graphic made by James Pettis. You'll notice that the worst of the wind will be in the purple area. That is where we're expecting Category 3 plus winds this evening.
They're going to wipe Tampa out.
So no matter which way you look at this, this is a cluster. This is going to be bad. Thousands of people are going to this is going to be catastrophic. This is going to impact almost the entire state of Florida, up and down, whether it's the rainfall, the tornadoes, the wind, the storm surge, the flooding, the high winds, the debris, and then again the infrastructure of Florida. I don't know what's going to happen. This is something we haven't seen before on this level. So it is absolutely a nightmare for everyone involved.
Evening and into the early overnight hours. Anywhere in the red is where hurricane force winds are expected. Wouldn't be surprised if this actually goes a little bit further south into areas like Port St. Lucie. So keep that in mind. Definitely be prepared for that. Power outages very likely anywhere in the red or in the purple area. Orange and yellow is where we're expecting tropical storm force wind gusts and wind speeds. So if you're in those areas, we could see some isolated to scattered power outages. Now, in terms of actual power outages across the state of Florida, it is very likely that we are at least going to see widespread power outages anywhere in the pink shaded area. That goes all across central Florida, western Florida, and as well as back through parts of the East Coast near Cape Canaveral. And then anywhere in that dark red shaded area is where power outages still appear at least to be scattered to numerous. That means they are likely. And then anywhere in the red shaded area is where isolated power outages will be possible out of Milton. Another big thing that Hurricane Milton is going to be producing is tornadoes. We are expecting several tornadoes today, potentially even a tornado outbreak across central and southern Florida. We are going to be live covering this threat, so make sure that you are, again, subscribed to the channel and click the bell icon so you're notified when we do go live. I do think that we are going to have a very long day on this channel. We're probably going to have two different live streams, one of which will be pre-landfall, and then one will actually be closer to landfall tonight. But right now, we are looking at a hatched area for tornadoes, and that means that strong tornadoes are going to be a possibility, which is just to the north of Okeechobee near Fort Myers, east of Sarasota. And then anywhere in the yellow, we are still watching for the potential for several tornadoes. And then in the brown and the green areas, we are still expecting several tornadoes. So if you're anywhere across Florida today, we could see anywhere from half a dozen, potentially even more tornadoes today. So have a tornado action plan in place, have multiple ways to receive alerts, and we'll keep you posted with the latest in terms of the tornado threat here in Florida. And the other threat with this is going to be the storm surge. It is expected to be substantial, especially across the west coast of Florida, where many areas are going to see anywhere from 10 to 15 feet of storm surge. This is life-threatening. You do not want to be along the coastline. This will also be catastrophic. And we are going to be covering this again later today with cameras on the beaches. And we're also going to have storm chasers out there that are going to be seeing this stuff in real time. It's going to be a disaster along the west coast of Florida, at least within proximity again of the beach. Back over in Charlotte Harbor, 8 to 12 feet of storm surge is expected. And then further down to the south in the Everglades, we could see anywhere from a foot to up to 8 feet of storm surge. And then the east coast of Florida, there's a wide variety of storm surge that we could see. Anywhere from 1 foot to 5 feet of storm surge is going to be possible. The greatest storm surge will be between Altamaha Sound and the Sebastian Inlet. And also in St. John's River, we are currently anticipating 2 to 4 feet of storm surge. So again, if you are near the coastline and you are under any evacuation orders, please take them seriously. It is going to be a very long day, and we're going to be covering this again here live on YouTube. So make sure you're subscribed down below. Click the bell icon so you're notified.
So I am planning to live stream tonight when this hits. I'm going to be looking at the cameras, the traffic cameras are what they are using, surveillance cameras in order to see what's going on. There are people who are storm chasers. I want to take a look at that and just kind of bring you guys that information. But again,
shout out to Melanie, man. She said our house might be gone when she come back. But I remember the other day when she said that storm coming, I'm getting the fuck out of here. She got out of there. But this right here, this was crazy when he showed me this part. I think this was the craziest part to me.
Thanks.
Look like. Well, let's show you. Imagine this. Imagine 3 feet of storm surge right here. Now, if this amount of water catches you by surprise, it's too late to evacuate. Cars are floating around and floating away. There's large objects in here that could knock things down with a battering ram-like force. Now, there's no way, again, to evacuate with this kind of storm surge. But we know there's many places where imagine 6 feet of storm surge. Damn. Now, this completely floods out the first floors of homes and businesses, and the only way to escape that is to move to the higher floor of a building. Now, unfortunately, there are going to be places that get more than 6 feet of storm surge flooding. Imagine this, 9 feet and even beyond flooding and inundation. This is practically not survivable.
Practically
so
not
please
survivable.
Follow the advice of your local officials when they ask you to evacuate. And if you have any questions about what evacuation zone you're in, if you need to go and or where you need to go to floridadisaster.org. And by all means, everybody, please stay safe.
Man, yo. Definitely pray for Melanie, man. Melanie from up here in DC. So she probably think like I think. If I ever go to Florida, as soon as I see some rain, I'm ready to go. I ain't with that. It'd be normal for them. They just be chilling like, oh, it's just a regular old hurricane. We get 1,000 of those. We live on the coastline. Nah, fuck that. I'm out of here. It's getting real, man. I'm trying to keep an eye on it. I wanted to go and see if I could get some more footage of people. Okay, this was 2 hours ago.
We are following breaking news. The WUSA 9 Weather Impact Team is tracking Hurricane Milton. The Category 4 storm is on a collision course with Florida.
I just want to see the real time.
Show just how massive Milton is. Landfall is expected in the next 8 to 12 hours, and Florida's Gulf Coast is already feeling its power. Wanted to give you a live look at the Sunshine Skyway Bridge. This connects
it killed this bridge. It came up over this.
It is shut down, along with the 3 other bridges that span
the
the Tampa Bay area.
Over that bridge.
The time to evacuate has come, and it is gone. Tampa's mayor sending a dire warning that if you stay behind, you will die. Thank you for joining us on TV and streaming on WUSA 9 Plus.
Tell me that if you stay behind, you will die.
Making landfall with
that is that your mayor get on TV and say if you stay behind, you will die. Straight up, that's what the mayor told you. The governor said man, look, time is now. You ain't got no more time to evacuate. If you didn't evacuate, you're gonna die. That's what that man said, man. That's what the lady said, and the man, like the mayor and the governor. So please, I hope the fuck people got out of there, man, because this shit real.
Let's get right to meteorologist Caitlin McGrath. And Caitlin, I understand that you just received a new advisory, and it's really time to shelter in place.
It absolutely is, Simone. We did just get that updated advisory, and Milton is now a Category 3
Damn.
storm. That is what it was, Alexander.
Look at this
This is a
tornado.
live look outside from one of the cameras in the Florida DOT. And again, that is a really healthy looking tornado that crossed right across 75. So again, here's a look at the radar. We've already got the flash flood warnings up as well, and conditions are only going to continue to
Damn, wind gusts
over
at
the next several hours. So as we get
75.
closer to about 8 o'clock, the storm approaching
Shit
that
making my
landfall.
stomach
Landfall
hurt.
is still
God
expected
damn.
just to the south of Tampa, but there is still time for that track to wiggle in either direction. And that would drastically change how much storm surge is expected and how powerful the winds will be as the storm moves onshore. But as we get close,
Here we go. They got some selfies. I'm trying to see the
Is
live
when
footage.
seawater rises higher than normal, usually caused by winds from a storm. Strong winds push water inland. The
Damn.
stronger the storm, the worse the surge can be. But how can we prepare for this? To learn more, I spoke with Dr. Elizabeth Carter, an environmental engineer who's active water management infrastructure. She explained that there are 3 main types of flooding: fluvial flooding, which happens when rivers flood; pluvial flooding, which is also known as flash flooding; and coastal flooding, better known as storm surge.
A hurricane coming in like this is going to be causing all 3 types of flooding at the same time. It's going to bring that storm surge
bring
with it. It's
ocean
gonna
on to the coast.
That is going to be its own thing that we as an engineering community have tried to prepare for. It's going to be dumping lots of rain on the streets and into the storm sewer systems. That's a specific type of flooding that we as an engineering community have tried to prepare for. It's also going to be overwhelming the river systems that are flowing, into the area. So when we have a situation like a hurricane hitting all at once, that's called compound flooding. We're actually having 3 very distinct mechanisms of flooding happening at the same time.
Damn.
So storms like Milton and Helene are abnormal in their strength, intensity, and size, making them outliers in the data used to prepare for flooding events. So from an infrastructure perspective, environmental engineers have prepared flood-prone areas the best they can with the resources and data that they have. The current flood mitigation infrastructure is built to withstand the strongest storm that has moved through a certain area. But storms like Milton haven't ever happened before. So the best way to stay safe from the impending storm surge is to evacuate. Caitlin.
all right, Michaela, thank you so much. Some great perspective.
Damn,
there.
I hope ain't
Now, the weather
nobody
impact team
stubborn.
will
This
be
is
staying
not
on
the
top of
time to be
Milton as the
stubborn.
storm continues to approach.
I ain't
Streaming
never
right now
heard
on
the
WUSA
I
9
never
Plus.
heard the
We have
government
live
officials
coverage from our
tell
station in
people
Tampa, Florida,
on the
and
news that
extended
if you
weather
don't leave,
updates.
you
You
will
can
die.
download WUSA 9 Plus for Roku, Fire
So
TV, and most streaming platforms.
that's like I feel like there wasn't no politician, there wasn't no none of that. It was just straight human being. If you don't dip, you're gonna die. I dip, man. I hope they got as many people out of there as they could, man, because that shit don't look like it's gonna be good, man.
We
Don't look
begin
like it's
with
gonna
a
be good.
major weather emergency that's taking.
I'm trying to see the American people that's out there in the mix. He in the mix. Check them out. He tripping, buddy. Nice bag to be driving out there in this shit. I wouldn't be driving out there in this shit. Ain't no money worth your life. They talking about 15 feet of water. But bro, what did you driving? I hope you driving I don't know. I don't think. God damn. Hope he ain't driving like. Tampa. Cause Tampa cruddy. I don't trust it. I don't trust the administration right now in this situation, man, because they not standing on business. They got the mayor out here telling people get out of here or you gonna die. I mean, they ain't got enough resources to get people out of here. This is crazy. I'm ready to get up out of here, and we'll be right back. Jump on with sis.
We have an
'Cause we
update
got
on
something to
Hurricane
talk
Milton.
about,
This
Diddy.
one's
That's
power
why I ain't
storm
really going
has
through it
finally weakened, and it has
in my
max wind
last
speeds of
video.
120 miles per hour. That is still a Category 3 storm. That is still a major hurricane. And there's, of course, all those other features. It's not just the winds. It's storm surge, it's heavy rain, it's flash flooding, it's tornado tighter. But